My name is Helen Marie Davis. I turned 71 last February, but the real turning point in my life came a few months before that, on a rainy October afternoon in Seattle. I live in a small craftsman bungalow in Ballard that my late husband Tom and I bought in 1979. We raised two children here, our daughter Rachel and our son Michael, who moved to Portland years ago and rarely calls. Tom passed 8 years ago from pancreatic cancer. He left me with a modest pension, a paid-off house, and a life insurance policy that, together with my savings from 35 years as a librarian at the Seattle Public Library, gave me enough to live comfortably and help my family when they needed it. And help them I did. Rachel and her husband Alex moved into their first apartment in Fremont 6 years ago. Rachel was pregnant with their first child, and Alex had just started a freelance graphic design business that wasn't bringing in steady income yet. They asked for help with the rent, $1,300 a month, and I agreed. "Just until you get on your feet," I said. They never did get on their feet. Over the next 6 years, I paid their rent every month without fail. I covered utilities when they fell behind. I bought their first couch, their dining table, their baby crib, and later the toddler bed. I paid for car repairs, medical copays, preschool fees, and even a family trip to Maui 2 years ago because Alex needed a break to recharge his creativity. I never asked them to pay me back. I told myself this was what mothers do. I told myself love is not transactional. By my calculations, I had given them just over $70,000. That number alone should have been a wake-up call, but I ignored it. Every time I looked at the dwindling balance in my savings account, I reminded myself that Rachel was my only daughter, my only living connection to Tom, and that one day she would be there for me the way I had been there for her. That illusion shattered on October 12th. Their 5th wedding anniversary was coming up. They had talked about throwing a small party at their apartment, and I had offered to cook the meal, my famous pot roast, garlic mashed potatoes, and the chocolate cake Rachel used to love when she was little. I spent 2 weeks planning the menu, buying ingredients, even ordering a custom cake topper with their initials. I pictured the 4 of us, Rachel, Alex, their 2 children, and me, sitting around the table, laughing, toasting to 5 years of marriage. The week before the anniversary, I called Rachel to confirm the date and time. She sounded distracted. "Oh, Mom, we actually decided to do something different." "Different how?" "We're keeping it low-key this year, just the 2 of us and a few close friends. Nothing big." I felt a small pang, but I smiled through the phone. "Well, I can still bring the pot roast. I already bought everything." There was a long pause. "Mom, we already had the party. Last night." I froze. "What?" "It was just a small gathering. Intimate. Only special people." Special people. The words landed like a slap. I stood in my kitchen, phone pressed to my ear, staring at the grocery bag still on the counter. Pot roast, potatoes, fresh rosemary, the expensive bottle of red wine I'd chosen for the occasion. "Special people," I repeated slowly. "Yeah, Mom, don't make this a thing. It was just a few of Alex's design friends and some of my old college buddies. We didn't want to make it a big production." I scrolled through Instagram while she talked. Sure enough, there were photos. Rachel in a black dress I'd never seen before, Alex in a new suit, their friends raising champagne glasses in a trendy downtown loft. The caption read, "5 years of love, laughter, and the best company. Grateful for our inner circle." No mention of me, no photo of me, no tag, no text, nothing. I ended the call without saying goodbye. I sat down at my kitchen table and stared at the groceries. Then I opened the fridge and started putting everything away, mechanically, as if nothing had happened. But something had. Something irreversible. That night, I didn't sleep. I kept replaying the words, "special people." I thought about all the times I had canceled my own plans to drive across town to watch the kids so Rachel and Alex could go out. I thought about the nights I'd eaten oatmeal for dinner so I could afford to send them extra money when Alex's clients were slow to pay. I thought about the anniversary gift I'd bought, a beautiful silver frame engraved with their wedding date and a photo of Tom and me on our wedding day. I'd planned to give it to them as a surprise. I never did. The next morning, I made coffee and sat at the table with my laptop. I opened my banking app and looked at the automatic transfer I had set up for their rent, $1,300, due in 5 days. I stared at the screen for a long time. Then I logged into my account settings and canceled it. I didn't feel angry, I felt empty, but empty is better than invisible. 3 days later, Alex called. I didn't answer. Rachel texted, "Mom, rent is due tomorrow. Can you please transfer? We're a little tight this month." I replied, "I only help special people now." She called immediately. I let it ring. She texted again. "Mom? What does that mean?" "Your family." I didn't respond. That evening, they showed up at my door. Rachel was crying. Alex looked furious. The kids weren't with them, probably left with a sitter. I opened the door just wide enough to speak. "Mom, please," Rachel said. "We didn't mean to hurt you. The party was last minute. We didn't want to burden you." "Burden me?" I repeated. "You've been burdening me for 6 years. I've paid your rent, your bills, your vacations. I've bought your furniture, your children's clothes, your groceries. And on your 5th anniversary, I wasn't special enough to be invited." Alex stepped forward. "Helen, come on. It was just a party. We'll have you over next weekend. We'll make it up to you." "No," I said. "You won't." Rachel's voice cracked. "Mom, we need the rent money. We're going to get evicted." "Then pay it yourselves." I closed the door. They banged on it for 10 minutes. I went to my bedroom, sat on the bed, and listened until they gave up. Then I cried. Not for them, but for the woman I had been. The woman who had spent decades believing that if I gave enough, I would be loved enough. The next morning, I called my lawyer, Ms. Chen. She had handled Tom's estate and had always been kind to me. I told her everything. She listened without interrupting. "Helen," she said when I finished, "what they've been doing is financial exploitation. It's elder abuse, and the fact that they're now pressuring you after excluding you from a family event, that's emotional abuse as well." I exhaled. "I just want it to stop." "We can make it stop, but we need to protect you legally. First, we change your will. Second, we revoke any access they have to your accounts. Third, we send them a formal letter demanding repayment of the loans we can document, things like the car payments, the furniture, the tuition help. We'll call them gifts with expectation of repayment to avoid gift tax issues." I agreed to everything. Over the next week, I took steps I had never imagined taking against my own daughter. I changed the locks on my house. I installed a simple security camera system that alerts my phone when someone approaches the door. I opened a new bank account at a different bank and transferred my pension and savings into it. I canceled every automatic payment I had ever set up for them. I updated my will to leave my house and assets to the Seattle Public Library Foundation and a scholarship fund for future librarians. Ms. Chen drafted a cease and desist letter. It arrived at their apartment via certified mail. It listed every dollar I had given them over 6 years, broke it down by category, and demanded repayment of $18,000, the documented loans, within 30 days. It also stated that any further contact would be considered harassment and would be reported to the police. They didn't repay a dime, but they did escalate. 2 weeks later, I received a letter from a law firm representing Rachel and Alex. They claimed I was suffering from cognitive decline and that my sudden refusal to help was evidence of undue influence from my new lawyer and neighbors. They requested a court-ordered evaluation of my mental capacity. I laughed when I read it. Then I cried. Then I called Ms. Chen. "We'll fight it," she said. "We'll get our own evaluation, and we'll countersue for financial abuse." The evaluation was humiliating but straightforward. I met with a court-appointed psychologist who asked me questions about my memory, my daily routine, my finances. I answered everything clearly. At the end, he looked at me and said, "Mrs. Davis, you are one of the sharpest 71-year-olds I've ever evaluated. There is no evidence of cognitive impairment." Ms. Chen submitted the report to the court along with a detailed financial history showing that I had been supporting 2 able-bodied adults for 6 years while they treated me as an afterthought. The judge dismissed the petition for guardianship in less than 2 weeks. Rachel and Alex were ordered to pay my legal fees, $7,200. They never did. Instead, they moved to a cheaper apartment in Renton. Alex got a full-time job at a design agency. Rachel went back to work part-time. For the first time in years, they had to live within their means. I didn't gloat. I just breathed. I started doing things I had put off for decades. I joined a book club at the library. I took a watercolor class at the community center. I traveled to Victoria, BC for a long weekend. I volunteered at the local food bank. I planted a garden in my backyard. Tomatoes, basil, lavender. I also started a small support group for older women who had been financially exploited by family. We meet once a month at my house. We drink tea, share stories, and remind each other that love is not a transaction. Rachel called once 6 months after the court case. I answered. "Mom," she said, voice small. "I'm sorry, I didn't realize how much I hurt you." I listened. "I know we can't undo it," she continued, "but I want to try to make it right. Can we meet? Just the two of us?" I thought about it for a long time. "No," I said gently. "Not yet. Maybe someday. But right now, I'm learning to live for myself, and I like it." She cried. I didn't comfort her. I hung up. That was a year ago. I still live in my little bungalow in Ballard. The garden is thriving. The watercolor paintings hang on my walls. My book club friends come over for tea. My support group meets every month. I travel when I want. I buy books when I want. I live without fear that my money will be demanded as proof of love. I am no longer invisible. I am Helen Marie Davis. I am 72 years old, and I am finally free. If you've made it this far, thank you for listening to my story. If it resonated with you, please like the video and subscribe. And in the comments, tell me, what would you do if someone you love treated you like you weren't special enough? I read every comment. I'm always curious. From Seattle with gratitude, Helen.